Job RP 86504 for the plaintiff, Paul Zhang, who is here with us today, standing in for attorney of record, Gary Sicati.
Before the dialogue even begins, we step straight into a case that captures the exact tension so many American families experience right now. A landlord standing firm on months of unpaid rent, and a tenant family fighting to avoid losing the only home they've got. This isn't just another courtroom clip. This is a full-blown collision of financial pressure, family survival, and the hard boundaries of the law. Judge Simpson, who never sugarcoats reality, enters this hearing already trying to juggle two competing truths. A landlord who hasn't been paid in 6 months, and a family of 7 who says they've got nowhere to go if they're forced out. Right from the opening minute, you can feel the tension build as the defense explains job loss, business collapse, and 5 kids at home. Yet the reality of more than $14,000 in unpaid rent is staring everyone in the room straight in the face. And here's where this case gets interesting. The defendants say they once paid over $100,000 in back rent just a year earlier. They claim they're not avoiding payment, they're drowning. Contrast that with the landlord's side, who just wants his property back and his bills covered. Judge Simpson knows both stories can be true at the same time, which sets up the push and pull we're going to see for the next 14 minutes.
All right, and the Stimmels are here?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, where are we on this case, folks?
Your Honor, this is a non-payment of rent matter. As of this date, defendants owe $14,560 in unpaid rent with court costs of $165 with a total of $14,725, Your Honor.
14,725.
That is correct.
Hold on. Pardon? Okay. Mr. and Mr. Stimmel, you guys have to park. I can't have you driving while you're on.
Yeah, we actually we're supposed to be in person in that court. We were told, so I'm parking right now, Your Honor.
Okay, you parked?
Yes, sir.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. So, counsel, the claim that you had was 14,000. Give me the total number, including costs again.
Yes, Your Honor. The total number is $14,725.
All right. And folks, what do you have to say about that?
We're self-employed. We own our own business. Unfortunately, due to COVID, our business has declined, and within the last year, we are completely unemployed. We have 5 children at home. We've tried multiple times to gain employment. Actually, within the last year, we've owed Mr. Zhang within $10,000 to $12,000 back rent and paid it out to him. Unfortunately, we just are out of resources and don't have a way to provide this money now. We've applied with DHS for the SER assistance, which we gave the tracking number at the last court date on the 16th. We've also been approved for an appointment with the housing assistants for Washtenaw County, but unfortunately their appointments are booking out to May. So we have an appointment May 6th on Monday at 10 a.m. But
this section reveals the emotional core of the entire case. The defendants lay out a detailed picture of economic collapse, a once successful business now failing, 5 kids at home, DHS applications pending, assistance programs bottlenecked until May. This isn't an excuse, it's a timeline of crisis. But from a legal standpoint, hardship doesn't erase debt. Judge Simpson has to evaluate not whether their struggle is real, but whether recovery is realistic. The defendants paint themselves as a family who paid $100,000 in back rent before, which is unusual and significant. But even then, the bottom line remains. 6 months of unpaid rent is already behind them, and the next month's rent is only weeks away. This is one of those moments where courtroom reality clashes with life reality. You can feel the panic in their voices, the uncertainty, the embarrassment, the desperation, but the law requires a plan, not just a story. And even now, no concrete plan has been presented. Would you consider this explanation enough to grant them more time?
Right now, unfortunately, we're strapped for resources, and this is where we're at. We don't want to do. If we had anything to give, we would give. But we have 5 kids at home, like I said, and we're barely even scraping by right now.
Okay, how much is monthly rent?
2,300.
I'm sorry?
2,300.
That is correct, Your Honor.
All right, well, folks, I mean, here's the bottom line reality. And that is how are you intending to get this paid? And what I mean by that is this, I mean, even with the number of children that you have, I think the max that an SCR is going to give is about 1,500. Even if you qualified for the max that might be allowable through the programs through Hawk, you'd be at 3, but more likely 2. But even if we said 3, that's only going to account for about 3,500 of this amount.
Before the judge even finishes the sentence, you can tell he already knows the math doesn't add up. He walks through each assistance program, but even the maximum possible support covers only a fraction of the $14,000 owed. And he's right. Michigan's SER and Hawk programs have caps. The judge isn't being cold. He's being realistic. A payment plan works only if income is stable, and nothing in this hearing suggests stability exists yet. Commentary continues after the dialogue. This is where Judge Simpson shines as a practical thinker. He's not just asking whether the tenants want to pay, he's asking whether they can pay. Courts are not built on hope. They're built on evidence, timelines, and concrete ability. The defendants say they have accounts receivable worth over $160,000, but receivables don't equal cash. A business owed money is still a business with no money. At this stage, the judge is essentially warning them the numbers don't match the promises.
Right. We understand. We've been we have accounts receivable of like $200,000 for our business. Like we owned a successful business, a $1.2 million swimming pool business where we built, serviced in-ground swimming pools for years. It was a 60-year company. You know, we bought it from a previous company. Unfortunately, like it's hard times right now in the economy. There's other, you know what I mean? We don't have a plan. We're working on jobs. You know what I mean? We're trying to keep our kids in school. We're being evicted. We don't know where we're going to go. I have no family here. I'm not really sure. So we're just working it out.
We also have 160,000 owed to us in accounts receivable. And so like last year we had gotten behind and I paid Mr. Zhang, my wife and I, $10,000. So our intentions are not to not pay him. And so
this is another pivotal moment. The defendants argue they're capable of paying because they've paid massive amounts before. And that's true. Most tenants do not pay $110,000 in back rent in a single year. But financially speaking, this is a dangerous cycle. It suggests a business model that falls behind, catches up dramatically, then falls behind again. Courts look for patterns, and this pattern signals instability, not reliability. Judge Simpson hears the same thing everyone watching hears. We'll pay when our customers pay. But courts don't operate on conditional promises. They operate on legal obligations. Rent is due monthly. Business receivables are unpredictable. The mismatch alone is enough to justify a possession judgment, but the emotional twist is powerful. This family genuinely respects their landlord. They praise him repeatedly. They don't want conflict, yet even with goodwill, unpaid rent accumulates, and property owners can't subsidize tenants indefinitely. Is it fair to ask a landlord to wait months, even years, because a business might eventually pay out?
it's a seasonal business. So I'll be going back to work here in the spring also, once and be able to create more income. And we have to go to small claims court, which we have to collect money on that's owed to us in our business. Unfortunately, the pool guy gets paid last when times are tough, you know.
All right. Counsel, what would your client like to do?
Your Honor, Mr. Zhang is here. I believe he wants a judgment entered in the amount, but if Mr. Zhang is amenable to working something out, that's an option available for Mr. Zhang as well. But I was advised by Mr. Zhang earlier today that he would like a judgment in the amount that's owed.
with an eviction date in 10 days.
This is where the judge's concern becomes crystal clear. A 10-day eviction for a family of 7 isn't just disruptive, it's catastrophic. The judge presses the issue immediately. Where will they go? How will they move belongings? What happens to 5 school-aged children? Judges are not required to weigh humanitarian impact when issuing possession judgments, but the best ones do. And Simpson is clearly wrestling with the consequences. Meanwhile, the landlord's request for 10 days is legally valid but harsh under the circumstances. The tenants admit DHS would place them in a hotel, meaning total displacement. Their belongings would either be abandoned or sold. The judge isn't hiding his discomfort. He basically tells both sides that a crisis is about to happen, and no one has prepared a solution. This is the moment where the case stops being about rent and becomes about survival.
10 days.
Is that right, counsel?
That is correct, Your Honor.
So I got a family of 7. Where are they going to put themselves in 10 days?
Your Honor, if Mr. Zhang is willing to grant him more time, I have no objection to that.
Well, I understand you don't have an objection to that. I mean, all right, Mr. Stemmel, have you guys thought about what to do if Mr. Zhang doesn't want to do anything, what you guys are going to do?
I mean, we've thought about it, but like you said, with the family of 7, it's not like we can just go stay with somebody. But DHS,
Ma'am, hold on. I get that.
yes.
That's why I'm asking the question. I mean, I'm asking, I guess, in a lot of ways, some hard questions, because I'm saying if Mr. Zhang wants to do nothing, if he doesn't want to wait for his money and he insists upon 10 days, and I just
Yeah, we'll be displaced and be in
do
a
what I'm
hotel.
gonna do, if I say he gets this judgment for this amount and you got to be out by March 11th, what are you guys gonna do?
DHS will be putting us in a hotel. We'll be displaced. We'll have to sell all of our belongings or leave our belongings behind and go to a hotel with our children or a shelter.
Has there been any attempts at trying to work out a payment plan, something to do with this? I mean, I'm looking at this and somehow or another, if I'm looking at 14,000, this hasn't been some big urgency because now I'm like 7 months. And even if I don't count March, because we're at the beginning of March, there's been a 6-month period. So somebody's been waiting on something. So
Well,
right. Like we said before, we've fallen behind. We don't really have any income. We're barely affording gas right now. Like my car running right now.
Ma'am, I hear you. Okay.
Mhm.
I get that. What my point to all of that is have you guys talked about how this is going to look and how you're going to work out? Because the reality for Mr. Zhang is if they end up having to do that and they end up having to leave, go to a hotel, secure their family in a hotel, and you've got all this stuff, you're going to have additional cost of moving everything that's in that house out.
correct, Your Honor. And our game plan now, like last year, we'd fell behind months, and we paid him 10,000. We're not trying not to pay him. He's been a good landlord, so we're trying to collect money from the people that owe us, so we can pay up Mr. Thing.
Just listen to me.
Yes,
Please.
Your Honor. Yes, Your Honor.
Have the parties talked at all about how to resolve this?
No.
All right, here's what I'm going to do. Ms. Weidman?
Yes, sir.
I'm throwing all of you, attorney, Mr. Zhang, the Simmons, I'm throwing you guys all into a breakout room. See if you guys, I'm going to pass the matter, see if you guys can work something out. And if you can, and it's okay if you can't, but I worry about somebody that's 6 months behind, and I got a family on one side. I've got a landlord that needs to be paid on the other side because he's probably got a mortgage on this. And you guys haven't even talked to each other.
Understood, Your Honor.
So, go breakout room, come out when you're done. We'll figure out something. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Do me a favor, unlike what you guys did with me, listen to each other and talk to each other because you guys weren't even listening to me.
Judge Simpson's frustration finally spills out here, and honestly, he's justified. 6 months of unpaid rent, a family on the edge of homelessness, and yet neither side has initiated even a basic conversation about solutions. No payment proposal, no timeline negotiation, no mediation attempt, nothing. And that lack of communication is more damaging than the debt itself. When the judge orders a breakout room, he's essentially saying, I'm giving you one last shot to find common ground before I have to make the decision for you. This is courtroom triage. Forcing dialogue when voluntary communication has failed. But what's fascinating is his final note. Unlike what you did with me, listen to each other. That tells you everything. Throughout this hearing, people spoke emotionally, defensively, desperately, but not collaboratively. The judge sees the solution isn't legal paperwork, it's communication. And next, we see whether that conversation actually leads anywhere.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Let me call this last case I got here and see where they are. Zhang versus Stimmel.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Sharab RP 86504 for the plaintiff.
And are the Stimmels there?
Yes, sir.
All right. Okay, you guys sent you out to talk. What happened? Nothing?
Your Honor, we weren't able to reach some type of payment plan or agreement. However, my client has agreed to extend the judgment date by 20 days. So March 21st would be the pay or move out date, Your Honor. And if I may, the reason being is
Well, hold
that
it. They're going to extend it by 20 days, meaning an extension by 20 days would put them at the end of the month.
no, Your Honor, instead of the statutory, I apologize. Instead of the statutory 10 days, he's willing to give them 20 days, Your Honor.
Got it. I see what you're saying. Okay, Mr. Stim. Okay, they're doing whatever they're doing.
No, I'm here, Your Honor.
All right. So that the 20 days is not agreeable to you, I take it.
No, I mean, no.
All right. So what are you guys looking at in terms of how to resolve this?
I'm trying to get, like I said, funds for accounts receivable. I want to pay Mr. Zhang as quickly as I can. He's been more than fair, I will say that. And I don't want to do this to him or his family either. So I'm going to small claims court for the money owed for our business and try to get judgments from them. You know, to
Okay.
pay Mr. Zhang. And
But that's not going to turn into cash unless they pay you. So here's what I'm going to do.
and Your Honor, we are a seasonal business, and we'll be wrapping up for work here soon. So I'll have more.
I understand
more steady
that.
income coming in.
I understand that, but as you ramp up, April's going to become due. And so we
Correct.
have a problem with that. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to find that there's no tribal issue after hearing in this case. I'm going to grant a judgment for possession to the plaintiff. They're only asking for a possession judgment. However, no writ will issue until after the 29th. So I'm going to give you additional time to the end of the month, see if you can get this clear or work something else out with the landlord.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All
You have
right.
a wonderful day.
Thank you. And counsel, just get the judgment over to us. I'll sign off.
Understood, Your Honor. And is that through online my filing, email, in person?
Probably email over to our court. We're not my file yet.
Judge Simpson delivers a balanced but firm ruling. He grants the landlord possession, which legally means the tenants must vacate, but he delays the writ until the end of the month, giving the family roughly 2 more weeks to secure housing, gather funds, or negotiate further. This ending captures the essence of Judge Simpson's style. Uphold the law, but acknowledge humanity. The landlord gets the legal relief he's entitled to, and the family gets a buffer instead of an immediate crisis. From a legal perspective, this was the only viable outcome. 6 months of unpaid rent, no repayment plan, and no concrete cash on the way meant possession was nearly unavoidable. Yet the judge's extension shows the system still tries to protect families from extreme harm when possible. For viewers, this case raises tough questions about responsibility, compassion, economic struggle, and the limits of the legal system in balancing all three. If you found this case as shocking as we did, make sure to hit that like button, share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more jaw-dropping courtroom breakdowns.